There are fast names in motorsport, and last month it was Enzo. With his victory signaling a new challenger, the race for the top 40 starts to intensify. By the end of tonight, we will be halfway through the season, and on the greatest weekend, we head to the track reserved for 600 miles of racing. 3 splits to take care of. Round 5 of the Simify MX5 World Sim Series is here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Global SimRacing Channel, and to that end, Concord, USA, the spiritual home of NASCAR. My name is Jake Sperry, and alongside me in the booth is Joey Atterbury. Ryan Bauer is calling the shots in the director's chair tonight, broadcasting the images on cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Roval is the name of the game, and the All-Star Original is now a comfortable staple for sim racers old and new. Let's see what the challenge will be for everyone tonight with our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Until a few years ago, most race fans probably didn't know that this track had a road course layout. Thanks to a huge revamp to prepare for NASCAR to race on it, the Roval is now a top-tier facility. Situated in the northeast corner of Charlotte, North Carolina, there's a whopping 6 different road course layouts. They range from just under a mile to a little over 2 miles in length. Like most Rovals, the high-speed banking on the oval portion makes up the majority of the lap length. However, one unique feature that isn't often seen on other Rovals is that this track includes a decent amount of elevation change. Passing is often difficult, and the 2 chicanes on the oval portion are notorious for their unforgiving curbing. Lesser-powered cars find overtakes a bit easier with the slipstream on the banking, but anything with some oomph is going to have to work very hard to get by their rivals. If anything, attrition often rears its ugly head, and simply keeping the car pointed forward and clean will net you a good finish. While the debate rages on among gearheads on whether oval cars should race here, one thing is for sure: it provides some wild action and almost never disappoints the fans in the stands.
They say it's America's home for racing, but this is the world's racing circuit at this point in time. A track which is such a difficulty here today, Joey, that they're going to run rolling starts over the course of the 3 races here tonight. Division 3 first, of course, which means that the lower points are going to be dealt with at the beginning. But this circuit is all about momentum, and that momentum onto the banking and through the 2 chicanes at the end.
Well, yeah, with these MX5s, not a whole lot of horsepower under the hood, so you're going to see a lot of bump drafting around the oval sections here. Multiple cars, 2, 3, 4 cars and trains, multiple grooves are going to be being made, and then who's going to be latest on the brakes going into those chicanes. But here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, 16 turns, 2.28 miles, and while it looks relatively straightforward for a Roval, Jake, it's worn a lot of different faces over the last handful of years. And the other thing is, these concrete walls, especially the first handful of corners, they are very, very close. They define the racetrack.
They do define the racetrack, and you have to define what this circuit is, and it will be a challenge for a lot of drivers here today. Let us take a little look, though, at what makes this circuit really good in terms of the championship standings, because coming into today, it is as close can be for that number 1 seeding. And you talk about seeding being important because this will give you the pole position for the world final at Laguna Seca in December. Ade Koba on top, 685 points, just a 9-point margin over his Obsidian teammate, Fernando Antoli, with Jason Cooper in 3rd. It's Marcelo Pagnan in 4th for the SRC Movano Corsa team. Pablo Espes currently in 5th, and Vladislav Shopov in 6th. Adam Delmont finds himself 7th, with Ronnie Mantiniemi in 8th. Lars Fischer currently 9th, and Joel Singleton rounding out the top 10. Worth noting, it will be best 7 of 10 by the end of the season. No drop rounds have been added as of yet.
Well, and you mentioned the track position, the qualifying and everything. It's going to be so important out there. And Jake, this is the team standings we're going to take a look at now.
Yeah, Obsidian Racing on top there, 1,361 points. 5-Star Motorsport just behind, clawing the gap down to 113 points only they are. building members in with the addition of Chris Knox. Negative Delta by Boolers is in third, with Next Gen Racing and GTD Racing third, fourth, and fifth. They're giving the chase to those at the top. Blue Rose team, just a 7-point difference between them and Positive Delta. Keep an eye on that, with a very close battle for 8th overall. Platinum Racing, Nordcloud, and Sweat Sim Racing rounding out the top 10. Joey, Nations Cup.
Yes, now we got Spain on top over here. Only 76 points ahead of the United Kingdom. United States here, well, we are here in Charlotte. Maybe we'll see the United States jump up a few, but they are locked in a battle. Only a handful of points ahead of Bulgaria. Finland up next, then the Netherlands, as well as Germany close in a battle with Italy. Then you got Brazil and South Africa trailing behind there in the top 10.
Yeah, and it will be worth keeping an eye on that as the season progresses forward. But in terms of our races here today, they will all follow the same pattern. It is round 5 of 10. Now, all these drivers have been seeded. They have 4 seeding days: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday of last week. And that has basically given them the grid that is available to them and who qualifies where. All races tonight are 25 minutes, and they are all in a fixed setup. But the difference is, races 1 and 2 tonight, so Division 3 and Division 2 are on the iRacing baseline set, or Division 1 is on the iRacing advanced set. So there is a difference between the setups there. Spare cars are available at all points in time during this race, so you can just grab a new one, get back out there again. That will be something worth keeping in mind if some drivers fall into troubles over the course of the racing action. But Joey, Division 3, it's worth talking about this right from the very beginning, because car number 38 is the big one who is in this field. Peter Reed finds himself inside the top 40, but could not make even Division 2 here tonight.
Yeah, he's going to be first up. We're going to see Peter Reed race here in Division 3. Right now, qualified provisionally third on the board here in this session, and just have to kind of see the front of this. Jake, before I so rudely interrupted you in those team points and whatnot, you were mentioning the seeding days and how it really sets the qualifying later, but we're going to see throughout the night here, being up front at the beginning of these races is crucial. You usually see the front of the pack stay there. You don't usually see someone from the back of the pack just work their way all the way to the front at these races.
No, you don't. And I think it's quite telling as Michael Tanagretta from the most ominous team name here today, the Organization. That could mean absolutely anything out there. The same way, for example, that you had the likes of, was it Rusty Lanier, was it? Out there who raced. You got everyone who's got a lot that can go out there and make something happen. But Tanagretta having a good qualifying, currently in 8th. But this is the key with qualifying. You are looking at these times. You only get 4 laps over the pre-qualification. But here, when you've got yourself the 3 laps, the 10 minutes to set a qualifying time, you often just need patience in these races. And this is where you're trying to find it. This, a key place to make a pass.
Yeah, we're going to see a busy racetrack through all of the chicanes, I feel. But you see Michael really pound it up over the curbs, jumping the car on the 2 wheels. And that's kind of the halfway clean way to approach those. I'm sure we're going to see some cars go 4 wheels over those things today.
4 wheels over might just be the name of the game if you want to be aggressive out there. Through the final chicane, tipping it up on 2 wheels both times, driving it over to the line, 35.5. No improvements out there in terms of laps, in terms of who is out there who could make a lap. Bruno Albino is there in the 3-wide racing car, and the Portuguese driver will try and make that run through. It's a 34.3. That's good enough to jump up to 7th place with that lap. Everybody else, though, is done. So that means we can take ourselves to the starting grid and know how everyone is going to line up for this one today at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And your starting grid is brought to you by Simify here today, ladies and gentlemen. This is the sort of company that you want to go with because they are the title sponsor for the MX5 World Sim Series. Simify is an online web shop housing a vast array of sim racing essentials for your next step in your virtual career. From steering wheels, seats, and handbrakes to even the common sim racing glove, Simify ships worldwide and is available to be seen both in English E en Espanol. Use discount code MX5WSS at checkout to receive a discount on your sim racing purchase by visiting www.simify.com today. On the pole then, here at Charlotte, will be Anton Simeonov with a 133.335. We'll have Alif Imran alongside for company to number 78 on the front row. Peter Reed will have a lot of work to do here from third, with Damien McMullen in fourth position. Rory Wetherington and Armanula Bacchus will be on row 3. Bruno Albino will start from 7th. Mackenzie Mann, who has been very good at making places in these races, will go from 8th, with Michael Tanner-Greta and Andy Littler rounding out the top 10.
And then here in 11th place, we have Sir Alan Toon. Next to him is Alvaro Rodriguez in 12th. Then row 7, we have Robert Vanden Heuvel, along with Tyler Emery in 14th. Bill Jenkins inside the top 15, and Timo Paija there alongside in 16th. Tim Brink in row 9 with Shane Pettengill, Leon Vorters in 19th, and Martin Smith rounding out the top 20.
Yeah, just one final row. I think Miles Owens isn't here in the right split. He'll be going from Division 2, but David Mitchell very much is here today in this division, and he'll be going from Division 3. So Miles Owens in the wrong split as they go through. Track temperature, air temperature, very similar here. 81 Fahrenheit, 78 air temp. It's 26 and 27 degrees centigrade out there in this circuit. Not much wind at all to speak of. Humidity at 55%. It is as stock can get around this circuit, and it's one of the few series out there which runs on a constant weather basis, Joey, instead of progressive weather, which everyone seemingly has gone to these days. What does constant weather give these drivers?
I think the best way to describe it is everyone is on the same playing field every single lap. You're not having any variations in track temperatures or clouds coming over. So literally how you drive the car going into turn 1, lap 1 can be the same as how you drive it multiple laps later. I think the only difference would be the tire wear. But with that being said, the cars are also on a fixed setup, so I think the whole idea here is let's make the playing board as even and as level as possible.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be the case here today from everyone trying to get as much of a fair chance as they drive behind the iRacing Porsche First safety car here onto the banking as they head through towards NASCAR turns 1 and 2. Out on track. What they have to be very alert to as well is what makes this difficult. When you've got a rolling start, you have the opportunity for drivers to go out there and be aggressive. Not so much as it would be on a standing start, but you get those drivers who think they can absolutely throw it into the opening corners because they have just been getting amped up, ready to go on the slow pace, which would be held by the leader, Anton Simeonov. So these drivers have to have a clean opening lap, and we note that the first sector is notorious, especially the first 2 corners, for creating absolute pandemonium. The heartburn turn, or the heatburn turn, which is turn 1, is huge in terms of what makes a circuit like this difficult.
Well, there's a couple funnel effects, Jake, and you mentioned it. Turn 1 has a huge funnel effect on the exit. Sure, it's inviting going in, but it always catches you coming out. And then turn 2 has another huge funnel right in the middle. So 2 opportunities to catch drivers out immediately.
It's so easy to do. Simeonov, Imran, Reed, McMullen, Wetherington, your top 5 points are going to mean absolutely everything here in Division 3. Fastest lap points, qualifying points, every point under the sun is needed for car 38, who starts from 3rd. Anton Simeonov is going to try and throw everything, takes a very shallow line. Green flag is in the air, and that will mean we can get ourselves underway for racing here as we go from Charlotte Motor Speedway. 25 minutes to decide a winner. Into the opening corner then they drive along, and it's a nice and clean start. Simeonov clear, Imran 2nd. It's the race for 3rd, which gets interesting. Reed having to defend early from McMullen through 3.
Yeah, and then right behind McMullen is Weatherington, as well as Bacchus involved as well. Coming out of this sweeping right-hander, you see the cars flirt with the grass, trying to carry as much momentum as possible.
Yeah, and McMullen gets his move as we focused on Ali Imran trying to make a pass for the race lead on Anton Simeonov. Not quite finding it just yet. They will head to the banking, which is the most crucial bit of track where you're trying to ride and use the drafting effects that this Mazda MX5 has. These Miatas have been so good at drafting, Joey, over the course of these seasons. You can easily gain half a second through 1 and 2, through 3 and 4, just by being in the right place.
Oh, I can teach you all about MX5 drafting. This is where I cut my teeth as a driver in Spec Miata for years and years. And trust me, even though you don't have a ton of horsepower under the hood, they are a blast when you get these trains going.
Oh, they are, and it's all about staying within range of that train in front. Bit of side-by-side then for the race lead. Ali Imran trying to find an angle, but he's not going to get there through the chicane as he goes through. A little bit further behind, Alvaro Rodriguez makes the pass on Andy Littler as one car went straight on. That's Tanner Greta in trouble. Look again over at turn 1. Damian McMullen, who does have himself a Division 3 victory in the back pocket, I do believe. The Irish driver there making moves as Rory Weatherington searches on Peter Reed.
It's an interesting ebb and flow that's been going on here at the front. You know, one car makes a move, kind of gets bottled up a little bit. The next car behind that sees an open door, then he gets bottled up. And it's all in the kind of this accordion effect that's going on really from 1st through 6th.
Yeah, and that 1st through 6th is key as we see one driver dropping a couple places, then going through the very fast right-handers there. But now back to Weatherington, who finds himself in 5th position. Now, he can't afford really, in terms of what he's wanting to do, to battle too hard right now. And that seems like a weird thing to say, but at this moment in time, you would like not to see, or definitely would like to see that in front. Simeonov making contact with Ali Imran. He really narrows himself through the chicane. Second group also, and now it becomes a mad scramble. Work out what you've got here in North Carolina, as now here comes the push forward then by the group. Damian McMullen wanting to try and switch himself up into the race lead.
Yeah, Simeonov and then McMullen and Imran also just trying to sort it out for the race lead, and Simeonov hangs on to it for now, but look at this. Imran trying to make it too wide around the outside here on the front straightaway.
Simeonov with the fastest lap, and there's the switchback straight down the inside. McMullen taking 2nd position away. Group continues here, this secondary group. It's Mackenzie Mann defensive with Rory Weatherington losing places. Tanner Greta and Rodriguez there on the backs. They charge under the Bank of America signage and head themselves through 3 and 4, and now looking for that drive towards turn 5. There's a little change of position because Simeonov is slow out there, and he's going to lose now to Peter Reed, to Ali Imran, to Damian McMullen. That screams slow down penalty.
I think it happened in turn 3, actually, Jake. He was just way wide off of the racing line, just completely missed the corner and opened the door. And I'm actually pretty impressed with Peter Reed because he was a little bit further back. He capitalized on the mistake, and now we're seeing Bacchus try to get around Simeonov for 4th.
Yeah, and Armanula Bacchus here, the South African, moving to the outside. On the brakes he goes, and he takes that position. And I'll tell you what, as a sim racer, he does well, almost clapping the barrier there as he goes through. Simeonov ducks right down underneath to make that move and make that pass. But I tell you what is interesting about these South African drivers is that they can only generate about 8 hours of electricity a day, so they don't get long to practice in sim racing. Simeonov losing that 3rd position there. You can see that flying through turn 5 out on track, but it was turn 3 where he lost it from the lead. You can see he's very close to the wall there as he went through, and very much a case of, actually does hit the wall going through 1, through 2 he clips the inside, and then as he goes through turn 3, is that a case of him just trying to work out what's right with his car? I think that was very much the case.
Well, and you know, our producer Ryan Bauer has an eagle eye for this stuff, and now I'm riding on board with Simeonov. He's got damage on the car. His steering wheel is skewed off to the right. He is dealing with a hurt car.
Yeah, he is limping, wounded, and that will bring the group behind into play. Albino gets turned. Mackenzie Mann into him. 1, 2, 3, and 4 all get turned, and Rodriguez goes as well.
Oh, we have chaos here on lap number 4 in Division 3. Multiple cars involved in a couple wrecks.
It's a big one. The Spirit 14 car of Rodriguez, very much a casualty out there as he tries to find his way back out onto the circuit, going over the different bits of track that he possibly can. The front, no such dramas. McMullen leads, Imran second, and Peter Reed, let's not forget, must-win race for him in third place, biding his time at this moment. This is a crucial phase. GSRC replay then we will grab, and this is all and important, rushing through. Now this is just a case of car on the inside. Albino tries to shut the door and he just didn't have the clearance.
Yeah, just multiple cars coming together there, and then what we're actually catching is not the second part of it. So we see the first spin and he kind of spins off into the grass, and then the second car actually spins around again and involved in another wreck. So just multiple cars involved with this one. Oh, third spin.
Yeah, so Rodriguez spins twice out there, which is a real shame for him. And McMullen, who had a pole position over at Silverstone, is now going to have to really work hard in terms of what he wants out of it. There is the SIMR Garage Sim Sports, or the Simmer Garage Sim Sports team car of Alif Imran, who is really trying to chase down, really is trying to give the best account that he possibly has in terms of building a result here today. He's going to get right up behind in terms of this race for the lead, switch over to the outside against the DM Sim racing car of Damien McMullen, but he doesn't quite have the angle. And McMullen on that inside line gains so much because he can take a much shallower and quicker line as he goes through. And the honeybee's out for Peter Reed in the Simtech racing car. He's going to want to try and chase on down and take that second place away.
Peter Reed looking down to the inside here, doing what he can to try to get up into the second place position around Imran. And Jake, I'm going to put my race director hat on a little bit, and I'm going to start to watch that number 76 car of McMullen, because he was wandering a little bit down those straightaways, kind of defensive multiple times there that last lap.
Yeah, he's got to be careful about that. Let's not forget the new rules on weaving. You can only have one change of direction out there on circuit. If you have multiple changes of direction, you're in trouble. Uses all the road off of the exit, does McMullen, and he now starts to be clawed in by Imran on this miniature straight, heading through towards turn 5 and now turn 6. The very tough up the hill right where we saw the incident earlier with Albino. Now flicking through 7 beyond the cones. Turn 8 opens up onto the banking. Take as much as you can. I love the way McMullen's driving at the moment.
Well, and you look at the car behind him, Imran using really the whole track trying to come out onto the banking. He did the same thing that previous lap, and look at this. It provides him an awesome spot to get the toe on our leader. He goes to driver's right, which isn't the aggressive side, should leave the door open for McMullen to hang on to it here.
How much of him going to the outside, Joey, is a case of Alif Imran just waiting to make the right move and just try to show, I'll go to the outside, to leave him space to say, I'm going all out for it on the inside.
Well, think of it like this. Well, look at Peter Reed now trying to go to the left side, the outside of Imran. I would say think of it like a pitcher throwing different pitches at a batter. Sometimes you throw a curveball, sometimes you throw a four-seam fastball down the inside.
As we say that, Tanner Greta trying to go around the outside, move through in the organization to gain another place. As that happens, it's on for second as well, as now here the likes of Mackenzie Mann stuck on the outside. Round goes Tanner Greta. He was losing it anyway. He got a bit of help too from Bruno Albino. Not much more that he could do to get out of the way there. Tyler Emery on the back too, but Tanner Greta all but done. He'll have to take a toe.
Yeah, have to take that toe, but like you mentioned at pre-race, at least they do have the spare car. Hop in that brand new car that the team just rolled off of the hauler and get back out there, do some laps.
Yeah, right back out to it. Get back out on circuit. Every point will matter. Tanagretti will now be in 19th position. Only Leon Vortas, the Thai driver, will be behind him in terms of the way that this racing will work. But McMullen all of a sudden has a second and a half. We'll take another look, though, at Tanagretti's incident. The organisation finding itself in a bit of a pickle there, as on the brakes, you can see he goes into the corner, gets all four wheels over the curb. He's going around anyway. Albino there, just nowhere to go, finds the road blocked in front of him, tags him in the rear.
That's exactly what happened. We saw in qualifying, 2 wheels on the curb is okay, but 4 can kind of upset the car. And this is the battle for second place. You see Peter Reed still hounding the back of Imran on the number 78 car. Hasn't been able to find a way around our second place runner yet.
No, definitely hasn't. And round, speaking of round, is Tyler Emery, the Dirigo Motorsport car, in trouble. And that then is a case of number 69 needing a little bit of help out there on circuit. Will now drop back from what was 9th position down to 12th and maybe 13th if Tim Brink has anything to say about it. He is an absolutely incredible warrior out there when he drives. But this is what happens to Emery. He searches for the inside and he's entitled to space there.
Yeah.
I think he is. Oh, that's an awful rejoin.
Oh, that's a tough hit there. And then you see the right thing to do, wait for the gap in traffic. But, that rejoin was and then some more contact here.
Bruno Albino is having a race, and I think that's the only way to describe it there. So here we go. It's Martin Schmidt. And he is just a passenger. He comes into the corner and bang, he absolutely gets into Albino there. And with this damage model that they have in this Mazda MX5, I am so surprised that everyone was able to drive away from it.
I think driving is a relative term at that point, Jake.
They were able to limp away from it.
They were able to at least get back to their brand new car on pit road.
I tell you what, speaking of drivers who are making things happen, they lost a second. They are still clawing back. Damian McMullen out there, who's had a second in Division 3 before, and is looking around and thinking, well, you know what? Imran is there, Peter Reed is there. They might have something to say about the way they go about this race. On the brakes then through turn 3, into 4 once again, which sort of molds into 1. It's sort of too close to be called 1 corner, too far away to be 3, so it is 2. But look at Imran. He is so good in the middle sector here, the opening to middle sector. He has halved that gap, but you can see he senses that he loses that time. Back to 0.6 of a second as they now go through the rights, and there's an off the other side of the road there as they go through. Someone has tagged the wall through there, and I think that might be Michael Tanagretti again.
I think the only safe thing about that is there is a wall between turn 1 and then I forget what turn it is coming out on the oval as we get this replay of Michael Tanagretti going into turn 1 here. Let's see exactly what happens. Oh, too much of that apex curb has a big slide and hard impact on that driver's left concrete wall.
Yeah, nothing to be done about it. That is just trouble every stage of the way. Now, what can Peter Reed do as he again looks to attack coming out of that first chicane, looking for the final chicane out on circuit? He will pivot to that inside. He will search on the brakes to find a move. He will get up the inside. Ali Imran will take all the road and block him out. And these two are doing each other no favors in this race. McMullen is driving away because they're battling, and watch out because Rory Wetherington is many, many times behind. They've got lap traffic behind them in Martin Schmidt.
No, you called it perfectly. Painted almost the same. Rory Wetherington is a little bit further back, but Martin Schmidt, I believe, is in one of the new cars with some fresh tires. He's providing the caboose. Now, that white car is multiple laps down, so he is not a threat for position, but I tell you what, Peter Reed still notices that car back there.
Yeah, he definitely does, and that will cause a little bit of panic in what Peter Reed is trying to do, because if black traffic decides it wants to get involved in this battle, that could be trouble as 10 minutes remain here in this opening race, Division 3, here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. On the brakes, this is some positive delta battling then, as Tyler Emery will find out going through, as that is Armanula Bacchus finding the pass, and behind that, Paya is now trying to find his way through as well. This is a positive sandwich of Dirigo filling.
And Timo really aggressive there with those purple wheels, providing some superior grip, not able to get around Tyler Emery right in front of him. But actually, both of these cars, Timo and Tyler, up a few positions from where they started.
Mackenzie Mann side by side into the chicane, and he's really trying to battle it out there with Andy Littler at this point, 6th and 7th. Now, Andrew has had a very, very solid race. He's just lost the position outright, though, so he will drop back a little bit then. But Andrew Littler's had a really nice drive there for the work guard by result team. They have really been trying to put as much as they can out, and they are two drivers, both Littler and Toon, who have just been the personification of trying to gain as much as they can. They're the sort of drivers who race this car week in, week out.
Well, and sometimes that's what championship efforts are built on, is just consistency. And the other thing that consistency builds is confidence out there. Sure, you might go up a couple positions one week and then learn to race in the mid-pack. Then you're going to learn to race in the front of the pack. But the only way to do that is get out there, start turning laps, and do it consistently.
Yeah, that is the key. And that is something that I'm sure they will find in this one. Alif Imran is absolutely flying out there on circuit. He is someone who I think is just very wound up by Damian McMullen and the way he can just put his car in the right place to negate any move possible. I think Alif Imran absolutely is the fastest driver in this field. The issue he's got is he can't get by the Irishman.
Well, I think Peter Reed is actually very fast as well, but you're right. Imran is able to just kind of reel in our leader, McMullen, at just a lap or two after they build that gap of about a second and a half. And one thing I'm noticing, Jake, is both of these front three, all of them, they're a little nervous in where they place the car, but I like that because that means they're respectful of their competitors in the race.
They've got a full 20 seconds to the cars behind. Albino again in a battle, which means it can only end one way. With Bill Jenkins this time, he gets through. With Michael Tanagret to the lap down traffic, trying to stay out of the way. So now it's about who wants to do what. And I tell you what, Tim Brink in that group as well. Ooh, he gets a bit close there going into the chicane. Tim Brink, I think, has had a really good race here today, up 4 places, and he's earned those 4 places by being so consistent.
Yeah, and right now chasing down Bill Jenkins right in front of him. Got a lap car actually between Tim and Bill Jenkins. That is Michael Tanagretta in the 68 that Bill is following here, and we documented those problems that Michael had, but you're right. Having a really good run on the racetrack, up a few positions here.
He's also a driver who has to use a personal trainer basically to guide him through most of this race, and it is a Herculean effort every time he goes out there. McMullen, the look from behind against the 2 he's up against. Alif Imran, Peter Reed, Reed finding himself losing time, and we are heading towards 6 minutes to go. They're averaging 1 minute 33s out there, which means that this should be 4 laps to go as they cross the line. So this is a big, big momentum shift right now. Alif Imran is going to take him 2 laps he needs probably to get to him, and then 2 laps to try and make the pass. That's what I think the focus has got to be for the Malaysian driver as he looks to try and attack both the Irishman and, of course, the Brit that is there behind him, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. He has got to be on full offense mode. He can't stop to think.
Well, and you as well as I know that catching somebody and passing somebody are 2 very, very different things, and McMullen's proved to be very hard to pass, but he goes really wide here on this corner. That's going to allow Imran to really close this gap up. This might be the opportunity the 78 needed.
Oh yes, 78 versus 76. It's all about pushing now. And what can Alif Imran do to find an overtake? What can he do to find the place? Again, it will be the outside he searches. He's not had confidence. He's earlier on the brakes though this time, and he really has to try and follow through this corner. He gets all 4 wheels up in the air over the anti-cut curve. But it's again McMullen who just is able to take a much more natural line through that section of track, which gives him the advantage.
Yes, and I think Imran has the right idea. He just got a little bit too greedy with the cutback on those curbs. You made the comment, he really went flying four wheels, and he was just a little bit too greedy in trying to get that cutback and that run on our leader.
Trying to find it, and again, no. Peter Reed, though, fastest lap, 132.777, and that is a big time to find at this stage of the race. Fastest lap point is 2 extra championship points in his back pocket. He needs those right now. As that's happened, Anton Simeonov has lost the place to Mackenzie Mann, so that's the top 5 gone for the Bulgarian driver. But now up the hill, into the right, trying to get as much pot as possible here is Alif Imran. He is really trying to wring the neck out of his Spec Miata to try and get this move done, and he needs an absolutely fantastic run, and he gets it. Can he get down to the bottom of the track before McMullen? He goes right down under the apron to make the pass.
Now, I know that some rules frown on the apron, and look at this, he's actually having to give it up, and I think, yeah, iRacing doesn't like that when you go down on the apron. That was a big-time mistake by Imran.
Yeah, not only that, he loses second for it. And there goes the pass for Peter Reed. He is now given license to attack, and he'll have 2 laps to do it. He is paying everybody up at the right times. He's just been so patient with the way he's had to go about his business to make this happen. And this might just be a case of being right place, right time.
Well, and remember, we haven't seen Peter Reed versus Damian McMullen. We've only seen Alif Imran versus Damian McMullen. Does Peter Reed have a different pitch in his back pocket to get around our leader?
Well, can he find the mistake? It's a much more shallower line in through turn 3 there for McMullen, who has been in this position before and found himself on the wrong side of it. Reed is trying to throw the kitchen sink at it right now. 2 minutes 30 to find the one overtake that he needs to do as much damage limitation. Big mistake, though, through turn 6 is going to open the gap up to near a second, over a second.
Yeah, that was the mistake that Damian McMullen was looking for, and that brings Alif Imran right back into this battle. I'm sure if Imran gets the curious sniff of this toe, he's going to try to get that second place back.
But the issue is Reed's got toe as well at 0.8 of a second. He's clawing it back too. Alif Imran's trying to stay there, but he's not going to be too much of a factor just yet. Flying through the chicanes, Reed makes a mistake, and he drops back to 3rd again. And now Imran back to 2nd, and we know how quick he's been to chase it down, but has old father time caught up to him with McMullen, 1.3 down the road.
Yeah, I think we're going to be coming to white flag this time. I think our leader is taking that white flag right now. So, I mean, yeah, time is running out here, Jake.
Time is running out. It absolutely is. And for Damian McMullen, he has just been the ultimate strategist at the front of this field. He has been managing this race, having started off in 4th position. He very quickly did the Irishman go up to the front of the field. It will be, if he can cross the line in 1st, the 2nd Irish winner, Division 3, that we have had. But Imran is closing at a rate of knots. That gap is already down to half a second as he now chases in through 5 and 6. This is an electric lap from Alif Imran, pulling all the stops out to put himself in range here as he now heads through turn 8 and now towards turn 9 onto the banking for the final time. Imran right up to the wall. You can't get much closer to the safer barriers there, and now he's going to have to figure out if he's going to go inside or out. Holds on that outside, holds on the outside. McMullen is still there on the inside, but does he dictate where he goes? Imran decides to move over now, all the way over. Now who's later on the brakes? It's still going to be McMullen, and still he drives, and he'll use all the circuit on the exit. Alif Imran has one chance remaining. If he wants to make this move, it will be into the final chicane, and he's going to have to be very, very brave to make this happen. Does he have the angle? Closes it down. 1 car length between them. No car lengths left. Defended by McMullen. On the brakes they both go. Big set to the inside. He turns him round. Alif Imran wins.
This is a controversial finish But the 78 of Alif Imran with the win. Damian McMullen finishes second. Peter Reed will finish in third. But look at this. This is the 117 of Simeonov in sixth.
It is, and it's going to be a very, very close fought one here to the line. Andy Littler sensing some hope here as he tries to take away that sixth from Simeonov, who is walking wounded to the line. He's done so well to hold on to his car, and I tell you what, he will hold on to position. Littler has thrown everything together on the board. A look at what happened on the final lap. You have to try something here, and look, he hits the brakes once and he tries to just throw it up the inside, but he runs out of road.
Yeah, and you know, I can armchair quarterback this all I want, but what I didn't like seeing was the flashing of the brake lights from second place. There was a lot going on right there.
Oh, there absolutely is. No, you are correct. And it's the sort of, okay, I'm going to brake once, and then I'm going to try and find that pivot line. But he was trying to pinch, I think, there on that second position, trying to make sure that McMullen stayed shallow. But McMullen has right to dictate where he goes. And it's up, really, to Alif Imran to get back into a place where he can cut up and under through the final corner.
Yes, 100%. That is perfectly called. And unfortunately, there was some contact made, but we're only here to call the action. I'm not the one that's deciding the action on the track.
No, that is very true. And as the drivers all came over the line, it was a case to be made then for everyone. They all needed points, and they needed a lot. There was some good racing between Bacchus and Sir Alan Toon out there as they got themselves over to the finish. We're going to step aside for just one moment. When we come back, it's Division 2.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
It will go down as a controversial finish here in Division 3 of Charlotte Motor Speedway. Round 5 is won by Alif Imran, but I'm sure the stewards will have a look after the matter of fact. Damian McMullen is robbed of a victory for the second time over the course of Division 3. He's 3.6 seconds back with Peter Reed rounding out the podium. Rory Wetherington would finish fourth ahead of Mackenzie Mann, with Anton Simeonov in sixth and Andy Littler in seventh position. Alvaro Rodriguez will be in eighth, with Armanula Bacchus ninth, and Sir Alan Toon will round out the top 10.
Here in 11th, we have Tyler Emery, then followed up with Timo Paya and Bill Jenkins in 13th. Tim Brink, 14th. Robert Vanden Heuvel is our first car, one lap down. Martin Smith also one lap down. Michael Tenegretta, multiple problems on the racetrack. Shane Pettengill, Bruno Albina, and then the cars here, DNF's Leon Vorters in 20th.
David Mitchell will be the last one who didn't make a start out there today. Miles Owens in the wrong split will be looking to race in Division 2. We will get a chance, though, to talk with Damian McMullen, who is with us now. Damian, that's a race for you that I think is a kick in the teeth when you get to the finish. You led the majority of that race, and that final lap, it just looked like Alif had rails. He had you on hooks.
Look, it's just, I don't know what happened. I need to look back at the replay after that. Yeah, I was robbed. It's like a kick in the privates area at the moment, but look, that's racing anyway.
It is very much racing, and for you, you've been someone in Division 3 who has been knocking on that door of a victory. In terms of how you got into the race lead, though, that was as simple as it was. The mistake from Simeonov got you there, and pretty much every time you had a chance to defend at that chicane, that first chicane, you had that corner on lock compared to everyone else.
Yeah, just what it was is a lot of practice and a lot of testing and just making sure you're happy with the apexes you're going to hit, and just takes time and practice. That's the best way I could explain.
Well, time and practice needed. You are now in a position where this championship that you're looking at, okay, top 40 might be a little bit of ways away at this point in time, but at least getting race to race, that confidence, that competition that you've got, how has it been looking for you? And when you talk about, okay, what is it that you want? What is it that you need out of these sorts of races that go through? How happy are you with the way that it's going, especially when you consider that we'll be jumping to start the second half of the season to Lime Rock Park in June?
I just can't wait. Like I say, like it's been brilliant. All the already how many races we've done already, but it's just been great racing all divisions, and I'm enjoying it so much.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. We're glad you're enjoying it. Damien, the floor is yours. Shout out sponsors or anyone you'd like to thank.
I just want to thank my sponsors, Fleet.ie and Potato Nation, and I want to dedicate this race to one of my best friends. He lost his mother last week, and I want to dedicate this to him.
Well, a dedication well worth the cause then. Damien McMullen finishing second, but that might change when all is calculated come the end as they go through. Joey, we're now moving over towards Division 2, and every driver who is there is now looking for big opportunities to score. This is a big Division 2. It's where you get the bottom end or the top end of Division 3, the bottom end of Division 1. You meld them together and you go, you know what? That's an anything race.
It's kind of the middle, the melting pot, right where everything gets stirred. And what I kind of think of the middle is it's hungry, right? You got a lot of drivers that are making their way up towards the front in terms of these championship efforts. And we talked about it earlier. It doesn't just happen out of nowhere. Sometimes it takes consistency. And right in the middle of this field is where you learn a ton and kind of where you make all your moves to get up there towards the front one day.
16 turns around this circuit, and every single one has the potential to put drivers in a state of jeopardy. You now start thinking about, okay, when it comes to the qualifying efforts that they have out there, okay, yes, this Division 2 has been a throw, but this is going to be where drivers absolutely have to throw the dice, because you are looking at these drivers who are thinking of top 5 here, top 10 in this Division 2 might just be the points you get every single week that put you in that top 40 picture.
Consistency. I'll say it a million times in terms of a championship. And sometimes it's not the racetrack that you want. And you just have to maximize those bad days on the racetrack. And trust me, Charlotte isn't everyone's cup of tea out there. It's a very interesting racetrack. And I'm sure some of these drivers out here fighting for that championship are just looking to get through today.
There are a few drivers who normally find themselves up at the very, very pointy end of these fields into Division 1, but there are other drivers who are looking to improve. You look at drivers out there like Miles Owens, for example, who's always up there. You've got Sandavara, who's in there. You've got many drivers who are pushing. In terms of qualifying, though, at the moment, 1:34 to go. It's Stefan Alderding who finds himself with the big times. And the big shock, actually, of drivers who didn't make it into Division 1, Jordan Svetanov's not there.
Yeah, right now he's currently provisionally second on the board, completed his 4 laps of qualifying and missed out on pole by about 1/10 of a second. But Jake, look at the times really throughout the entire top 10, call it, only separated by about 1 second.
1.4, you could put it there. So at least the top 10, there's a lot of movement there that can be done. Vara for the SDC Spirit 14 racing team comes over the line, jumps up into 5th position. So has definitely got a lot of work out there in the back pocket. You talk about where drivers need to be. Who do they need to be racing against? What sort of points they have That's going to be crucial for them. All drivers by number are sorted by where they are in the championship. Work that out for their driver numbers. That is going to be key. Lewis Benny will not get a lap time. Everybody's lap is done. Stefan Olderding will be your pole sitter and will be joined by the driver 11th in the championship, Jordan Svetanov, on the front row. Andy McEwen is going to start from third, making a big claim for commentators everywhere, with Miles Owens alongside in fourth. Sandavara and Laurent Sebastian will be on row 3. Alexandre Longo will go from 7th. Patrick Cantrell in 8th, with Martin Sampson and Edouard Gross rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, and then here in 11th place position, we have Nicholas Norwood alongside Carl Jacquelet in 12th. Row 7, Eric Curadon along with Rene Zaguilar in 14th. Javier Sicuendez alongside Stephen Orrell on row 8. Jose Lopez in 17th and Charles Kellyman in 18th. Tom Daly and Ronald Moons on row 10.
He is the organizer of Belcar in terms of the virtual Belcar championships, is Ronald Moons, with Luis Suarez in 21st, Kay Poulsen 22nd, row 12 housing Willem van Rassel and Melvin Tyne for an all Dutch row there, with David Geddes and Sebastian Hain making row 13. The last two drivers, Pedro Marimon, a 53.7, a non-representative lap time, and Lewis Benny not able to put a time on the board with him, and he has been removed from server for not being in the right server, I do believe. So that will be him day and done for him in terms of what he's got. Once again, though, we are in those same conditions. They are in the same setup as they were for division number 3, and it is the it's the Sweat Sim Sport car, of Stefan Olderding out there at the front. But when you've got Jordan Svetanov, these two drivers, Olderding and Svetanov, were racing all of last year, Joey, in what was cup action. That was big in terms of what they wanted to do. They know each other very, very innately. The big unknowns for those two drivers will be Andy McEwen and Miles Owens, both behind.
Well, and I mean, that's just the next row. Don't forget about the rows after that, because we talked about it. Drafting is so important here at this Roval track. That top speed, who can get the runs out onto the straightaway to capitalize on those cars in front of you. So yeah, sure, the cars up front are who we're going to be talking about, but where are the runs going to be coming from?
It's very interesting to note that over the courses of the races that we've had in this series, and get this, we've had 4, we've had 8, we've had 11, make that 12 races. We have had, Joey, 12 different race winners.
It's about real life. That's how it works in real life too. It just provides so much opportunity because these cars, they're so even. And then Jake, you talked about it, the weather being consistent. It just really levels the playing field. It provides opportunities for everybody out there to potentially snag that win.
It's all about pace. Who can get pace? Who can manage this as much as anybody else can, as they will now drive for these races behind the iRacing Porsche First Safety Car to get themselves ready. You look around at these drivers in and around, I believe, 10th to 20th, I think is going to be the key. One of those drivers might come out with a top 5 just because of how crazy it can be, especially off this start. So we saw how Division 3 spread out very quickly. I doubt that will be the case here in Division 2.
I think it will stay a little bit closer, but when things stay close like that, the opportunities for an even bigger wreck kind of tumble, not in your favor. And this racetrack tends to have a few areas. We mentioned those funnel points in turn 1, turn 2. You stack everybody even closer. Hold your breath.
Yeah, hold your breath indeed. You look around, Laurent Sebastian might be the best Division 2 driver in this field just by the way he's been able to drive. And you look at the drivers in and around top 40. You're looking at numbers here between or in and around 40, so 33s and 37s. Carl Jacquelet needs a performance today. Stefan Olderding needs a performance. Charles Kellyman is the man on the bubble. He starts 18th today. He's got work to do.
Well, and these drivers further back, and this is me just kind of being a crotchety old man over here, Jake, but I don't really like the start zone here at Charlotte. When you're further back in the field, you're really at a disadvantage.
You are, and you have to work hard to get through because you're just waiting on everyone else to go in front of you, and you're probably in the chicane where you have to go and you immediately have to hit the brakes, which puts you in trouble. Now watch in row number 3 here, Sandavara. He's trying to push Laurent Sebastian out of the way so that he doesn't have to go through. He's trying to dictate his pace by being on the outside. Now that is something that is quite interesting. We don't often see it. Green flag though in the air. Let's get underway. Alderding with a fantastic start. We'll get the jump here with Jordan Svetanov. Another 25 minutes here on the clock here for your Simify MX5 World Sim Series. McEwen in third, 3 wide. They will go in here for about 10th position as they charge through. They go through quite nicely. That's Patrick Cantrell and Martin Sampson giving it everything they've got. Into 3 they go under the Bank of America bridge.
3 wide through turn 2 as well, but our leaders out onto this little mini back straightaway for the first time. Alderding leads the race, but 2 wide. Andy McEwen sticking his nose in there.
Oh, and there's trouble in the middle as well, and it looks like Javier Sequendez found himself in the gravel. Sebastian Hain has caught himself up. He'll have to go straight on as he went through. Tom Daly was caught up in the incident as well, and he looks very wounded and damaged, and the 1P Motorsport Car's day is done pretty much in terms of what he wanted. Alderding, Svetanov, McEwen, Owens, and then Vara makes your top 5 out there at this point. They do all have to work, and the group at this stage, you would say at the front, stretches back to 9th, and Martin Sampson at this point, an important front group you have to stay with.
Hey, gotta keep in that draft range. If you lose the draft, all of a sudden you can be losing a ton of ground very quickly. But right now, the battle is for second place. We got 3 cars locked in this battle. Trying to make it work on the inside is McEwen.
And McEwen trying to find that angle through. Doesn't quite manage it in the Year 1 Motorsport Car. One of the best flip-flop companies out there in the world. Now trying to drive through turn 1. You'll see behind Miles Owens, Sandavara, all there. And they've all got to be patient in this group, because the moment you start taking an attack out wider, trying to get a little bit more aggressive around this place, you are going to start allowing other drivers to get into play. And this is what's happening. Drivers are looking to attack in certain places. McEwen again, nose out to the inside. Svetanov, one of the best drivers out there in terms of just knowing where to place the car. He has nothing to fight for in terms of that. He'll have to let McEwen go, but they've let Alderding go to 1.2 seconds. GSRC replay.
Take a look here. This has happened on the first lap. Looking at Javier Sequendez here, going through this turn 3-4 complex, just gets out wide onto the grass. You see the big fishtail and then heavy contact with, I believe that was the 57 of Tom Daly.
Yeah, that's huge. This is what Daly has to see in the 1P Motorsport car. Car goes out wide, I'm going to the inside, I'm out of time, and McKee's a car there, and he actually catches the TWR car there in the middle, and he somehow gets away with it. And that is something that you don't often see with drivers, is that they just get a little bit of luck. Miles Owens, Platinum Racing, trying to find his way up then into 3rd position. He's looking for the pass, and he might just unlock it. Big trouble in the background. Cantrell's in trouble.
Oh, huge wreck. 3-4 cars, more cars piling in here. Is everybody going to be able to avoid the wreck? Now we're seeing the tow button hit, but that was the 17, Martin Sampson, involved.
Martin Sampson, 17th in the championship. In trouble, 21st. Patrick Cantrell, 33rd. Carl Jacqueline. All of them got caught up. Eric Couradon was another one who found himself in there. There goes the spin around, and then bang, nowhere to go. Oh. Look at the kick off of the wall there from Cantrell. That's the heavy hit that catches Martin Sampson out. Here's another look.
Jake, it's like they got the concrete wall made of the WCW mats out there. It bounced right back. Look at that.
Bang! Runs the ropes, and that is a clothesline from hell that even John Bradshaw Layfield would be proud of.
The reference as we jump back. This is Andy McEwen hunting down Stefan Alderding, our leader.
Now, Alderding here knows that the trouble you have at this circuit is building a gap. Year one car, Andy McEwen, the commentator out there who has done so much in the British motorsport racing scene, right on the banking, tries Alderding. He almost tries to push into him there. Room given as they go through, and Andy McEwen now moves to the point. He takes the race lead.
Oh, and just a missed set of apexes for Alderding going through that chicane, loses even more ground. And Jake, we saw a car get penalized for using the apron on the previous race. I was curious to see Alderding go down there.
Well, Alderding was just pretty much running it onto the line. He had always a tyre over that line, but not fully there. Here's Laurent Sebastian in the Taramundi car, trying to get past the SDC Spirit 14 machine of Sandavara, and he nearly managed it there. Now, he's been stuck, and pretty much stuck ever since lap one. Before lap one, when Sandavara was pushing outside of his lane on that running start that they had, the rolling start, that put him in trouble. There's Ronald Moons for Berserk Racing. He's trying to find a way through on number 79. That's René Zegelaar there that he's got in front. And it's the Belgian versus the Dutchman as they now charge through onto the oval banking.
Yeah, and get the run. And actually, Laurent Sebastian looking to go too wide with Sardavara. Bavara goes to the right side. Look, kind of squeezing him off here with Laurent Sebastian. If I was Lawrence, making a move down to the inside because Var went a little bit deep in the chicane. This is an interesting battle here, Jake.
Yep, Sandavara just pushing a little bit too deep through. Door left open, but Vara could get the drive off of the exit. Sebastian could not, and as such, he has to sit and wait here in this Division 2 battle. If he wants to get through, if he wants to jump, then he's going to have to be brave. And you have to be really careful, actually, on that entrance into the final chicane. You take too much out of it, and you might find yourself over the synthetic grass there on the inside.
You have to be careful because if you cut the apex too much, we've seen cars go four wheels over those curbs. It really upsets them. And then, like you commented here, look at this, poking the nose down the inside, but no room. But like you mentioned, if you go too wide on the exit, you get into the grass.
Yeah, and that's not natural grass either, which makes it a lot more difficult and unpredictable. There's a little look from the 1P car, finding a way through on Melvin Tyne. That's Tom Daly, who's a lap down. They don't have to battle like this. Spaghetti-O. Charles Kellyman, the bubble man, is now finding himself in play. And Melvin Tyne is someone who would love to get by. Door shutting his face through 5.
I don't think that they are appreciating that one bit from the car that is a couple laps down. But hey, Tom Daly using that spare car. He's out there doing laps racing.
Kellyman in the wall. Just there, that hit, that might be crucial in terms of what he's got, and he might have a bit of damage to the right-hand side.
He just might here, and look at this. Battle for third here, Jake. The 37 of Alderding. Vetsanov also in there. I believe Miles Owen also kind of in the catbird seat looking at this.
Yeah, all of a sudden, that brings itself into play. Svetanov around the outside, and he clatters over the curb to get it going. Now, Miles Owens might get both of them here. He gets one in the Platinum Racing car. He'll look to the heartburn turn of turn 1 to get it sorted, and the answer is no, he's not going to get it done, but he got one, but they've allowed McEwen out now to 1.8, now 2.6 seconds.
Yeah, Andy McEwen taking advantage once Stefan Alderding lost some pace. And Jake, there's got to be something wrong with Alderding's car. I'm looking, the steering wheel's tracking straight, but he has lost a ton of pace.
He has lost a ton of pace. We look, though, at Laurent Sebastian, who has been staring at the back of the Spirit 14 car and has been trying again and again and again to find something out there. Answer he has tried to find has been the result of pure nothing out there in terms of what he can get. And on behind as well, this is a beautiful battle between Josue Lopez right now, number 50, trying to get in against Edouard Gross there on the outside. Gross will have to be very careful about this, as so too Laurent Sebastian has a search, can't find the move. Gross losing out the position, through goes Josue.
Oh, man, pairs of battle all over this racetrack right now. It's exactly what you predicted. Not so many cars separating out into packs. These guys are really all lined up.
They are, and they are very much keeping within those battles and keeping each other honest. 15 minutes and 37 seconds. It's crazy. They feel like they've been battling forever out there in this race, Joey, and it's only been 10 minutes.
Well, okay, so like I said earlier, I have tons of time in MX5 and Miatas and whatnot, and trust me, when you're racing out there, sometimes it can feel like a very long race. Even on the straightaways, you find yourself sticking your arm out there trying to help paddle yourself along as a battle here for 11th place.
Yeah, all stacked up behind Pedro Marimon with the likes of Ronald Moans in there, Nicholas Norwood, Rene Zegelar. They're all trying to get in on the act then through the long right then of turn 4 on the rush towards 5, this semi-long straight where you can have a little surge up the inside, and then 6 comes along, this brilliant right-hander. What makes 6 such a roller coaster of a corner here, Joey?
Well, surprisingly, just a little bit of elevation, and not to mention how long it is. You can kind of charge into it, but you got to be careful up over the top. But crucially, it leads out into this complex that puts you out on a big straightaway, Jake. Exit, always important.
Exit is everything, and again for Laurent Sebastian, it's exit he cannot manage against Sandavara. He has Alexandre Longo right behind him, and Longo has been this sort of driver. Yes, he's got number 93 on the car, Joey, but he's putting up practice sessions all the time, does the GTG racing driver do, in order to make sure that every driver in this series has a chance to improve.
Always good to see, and what I think always helps in the sim is just practice laps. You know, you don't always have to go out there and work on the setup or try to tune qualifying. Sometimes all you need is just to go out there and hit your marks for a half hour at a time.
At a time is a key. You just need the time to practice, to get yourself situated. Sebastian again looking at turn 4. That's not going to do it. Longo's going to get into the back here, and suddenly what a monster run from Josue Lopez, the Spaniard, trying to make a way through. Carbono Waka Esports. Carbono Waka into the side there of Alexandre Longo, and that could have very easily have been more drama than it was.
Longo definitely got a hip check and now pays back Lopez with a shot to the back bumper coming out onto the Roval section here, but I don't think this battle is over. If you ask me, race car drivers, they always remember everything.
Look, when in Concord, get the chrome horn.
Oh, here we go. Lots of weaving down the back straightaway going into the chicane. Who's going to be latest on the brakes? Looks like Lopez is going to hang on here.
And guess what? Just in front, Vara has finally been overtaken by Laurent Sebastian. He's finally got his man.
Well, props to Lawrence out there, because if you ask me, he was very patient with how Vara was being defensive out there. Get a shot at this overtake. Looks like it happened down the back straightaway into the chicane,
where it has been the key in terms of getting it done. How does he do it? Well, they break to the same place, but Vara just can't get it turned, and he picks his pocket.
Yeah, and sometimes those are the easiest passes to make, is you just stick there, stick right in the rearview mirror, and eventually a mistake is happening, and when that mistake happens, capitalize on it.
And look at him, he's gone. He's immediately gone. That's what has held him up. 6 seconds in this race. Ronald Moans is still trying to get himself into play. Pedro Marimon is a little ways away, but it's Nicholas Norwood. He's got to deal with the Dirigo car. And look at this big shuffle off the fence then on Moans. That will be a little bit early for Ronald's liking there, because that's the sort of move you make, Joey, when it's last lap. Norwood's doing it when he's not got 1 minute to go. He's got 11.
It's tough, you know, and once again, I'm not going to preach out here. It's everybody, you just have to race how you want to be raced.
Josue Lopez having a little think there against Sandavara, who hits his mark well through the chicane, but Josue will look to really make some progress here, and he's now got to think about how he goes about it. Vara down to the apron, trying to cover this off, trying to make sure that he knows everything he's got, but he gets the black and orange mechanical flag. So Vara is in trouble. He has to pit, and he has to pit for damage.
Oh no, I wonder what happened there.
Maybe?
Maybe, you know, we saw the cars go down onto the apron and get a black flag because of it. That's not what Vara was doing. That was the black and orange meatball flag, wasn't it?
Yeah, it might have been over the curbs that he's just been battering them too much that it's damaged the floor.
Very possible, and that's just kind of one of the unknown things that, yeah, if you abuse the equipment too much, it can definitely bite you, just how it can in the real world.
Oh, and on top of that, he's got a drive-through penalty to go with. Sandoval is in a world of hurt now as he goes through. Now it's all about where do you go? Where do you find those moves? Josue Lopez with Alexandre Longo and Edouard Gross all there trying to get into play, trying to find those moves on the power onto the banking. And this is where the slingshot becomes so vital.
Well, and here comes the opportunity for Longo. Like you said, the slingshot, the old shake and bake right here from Talladega Nights, the 93. But look at that triple draft for the 63. Looks like already Longo passed going into the chicane.
Yeah, and that's just really well done by Alexandre Longo. Able to make that happen, able to have comfort in the way that he was putting that together. That was well constructed at this point. 9 minutes to go, and the lead has actually been very stable at the front. It's been a 1.8 second margin for the longest time out there, and it looks like there's troubles for Ronald Mones. Oh, there's huge troubles.
Big time problems on the racetrack. I believe that was in the chicane, Jake, and not just one car, but I think I counted 3, maybe even 4 involved in this one. I think it's all happening on the exit of it.
It happens with Norwood. Norwood in the Dirigo car runs a little bit deep, loses the back end, tags 1, tags 2, and it's a chain reaction.
Dominoes, and trust me, when the dominoes fall, they usually don't go your direction, at least when you're on the racetrack.
No, they really don't, and very much a case of landmine avoidance. Top 4, McEwen, Svetanov, Owens, Alderding, all there, all with a shot of victory, and it depends on how this group can close in. It's very reliant on Svetanov in the train, finding a couple tenths of a second over number 88, Andy McEwen. They're in the year 1 car. McEwen, someone who has dropped rounds he's used so far this season, didn't turn up for the opening round of the season, and of course missed the last round of the championship because it was his birthday.
Well, sometimes things take precedent over sim racing as we take a look here. Lopez trying to get around Longo right in front of him. But one thing I was noticing about that battle up front, Jake, is Andy McEwen is just staying frustratingly far enough out front to break that draft.
Yeah, it is pretty much right there. And I tell you what, it is going to be a really, really important battle for him. To keep that gap over 1.5 will be the achievement he is looking for. Svetanov will be looking back in his mirrors, seeing that Miles Owens there in the Platinum racing car is going to be pretty much his main competitor as they go through. And if they start battling, they know race is over. Miles Owens knows this. He's top 25 in the championship, and he's working with number 11 and number 37. They can't catch number 88.
Well, Miles Owens right now is turning up the heat on Svetanov in second place, and also Stefan Alderding. I mentioned Alderding was off of the pace earlier. He has fixed whatever he had, and now definitely one of the fastest cars on the racetrack.
One of the fastest and looking to try and make some moves. But remember as well, there is the Hard Charger Points Award for the driver who makes the most places. That's currently Pedro Marimon. Here comes the look down the inside. Stefan Alderding stands him up.
Yeah, nice out-braking move. Moves Alderding right back up into the third place position. Curious to see how quickly he's going to hunt down Svetanov right there in front of him. If he's going to battle with Miles Owen, or if we're going to get these from
Marimon's around.
Oh no.
And that, of course, the driver who had the Hard Charger, and he is smoking, trying to get that back pointed in the right direction. He's had a huge bit of issue.
Oh, just got the wall coming out of the final chicane, and what I suspect is, yeah, he's got broken steering from that impact.
Yeah, he's just trying to limp it around the circuit. That's a real shame. He was up 18 places at that point in time, and his race is pretty much done from that at this moment. So work to be done The battle on for third has completely thrown the train away. Owens there in the Platinum Racing car will have Alderding still for company, but there's lap traffic in the middle and it stays well out of the way. That's Carl Jacquelet in the optical car, who knows all about being a good bit of traffic. He stays out of the way, and he's learned that through the sheer amount of racing that he's done. A lot of these drivers who come in from the British racing scene of MX5s in the UK have almost impeccable standards when it comes to how they conduct themselves out on the racing circuit.
I mentioned it earlier. You have to race everybody how you want to be raced yourself, and sometimes when you're not having the day that you want, such as Carl Jacquelet out there, you just have to be aware of what's coming up, because trust me, you can get payback at any time, and when you avoid and you make friends out there, everyone is happy.
Everyone is, and they all know it. And Josue Lopez has gone around at the chicane, and now he's dropped back a number of places. So there's Kay Poulsen. He's on his race at the moment. This is on for 12th position right now. He's trying to get past the bubble man, Charles Kellyman. Dylan Van Rassel there, number 70, who's in play. But as that has happened, Josue Lopez is limping his way back to the pits. He's nosed it in the wall at the chicane.
Well, and I saw another car spun around on that mini back straightaway as we're going to catch this replay of Lopez here going into the back straightaway chicane. See exactly where it goes wrong. Heavy over the curbs, and then, ouch, big impact. And, ooh, I don't know who that was that squeaked by, but narrowly made it.
Yeah, that would be the Sweat Sim Sport car of Edouard Gross, who just about misses it through the left, through the right, and you can see here, bang, where do you find the move? Oh, it takes commitment to go to the inside like that.
Oh, and I actually think he just narrowly scraped that driver's left wall, but avoids the big impact. Great job.
Yeah, that is a really, really good job, just managing to avoid all of that out there. But what it does mean, though, as Sebastian Hain has found his turnaround there.
Alderding just hit the wall.
Oh, no way. From fourth position, finding troubles then Stefan Alderding as he just grazes the wall out there on track.
Yeah, Alderding just problems in the final chicane. Just, I shouldn't say final chicane, on the back straight chicane, came out, got a piece of the wall, but that cost him big times in terms of the track position. Here it is.
Oh, he's lucky he's still got the wing mirror. That was very, very close in terms of what he was doing. You can't push that far, and it's sort of a reminder that everyone is racing here to stay as close as possible. And now Charles Kellyman, the bubble man, goes around. Everybody in trouble here in Division 2.
This is in that same spot, but he has a little bit of help this time. Can't see who this is. Looks like Kay Poulsen involved with this.
Kay on the brakes, trying to get it stopped. Oh, it's close, but just as he starts to try and turn the other way, Charles Kellyman there, not much you can do. Here's Kay's look then from the iRacing Nederland car as he looks to the inside of the optical machine, gets on the brakes, gets alongside. Oh, he just tags him on the way in. I think it's a close one there between those two.
I would come that down to a racing incident for sure. It looked like both cars were loose going in, but I don't think that was a malicious contact by Poulsen.
No, I don't think it was either. David Geddes, by the way, is looking for a top 10, and that would put him up 15. Not enough to get him hard charger. That's currently in the pocket of Melvin Tyne, who is just at the front of this group right now, in 8th place, as he now tries to break away in the Sweat Racing car, but he'll have Van Rassel and Poulsen and Geddes and Luis Suarez there behind.
Now, talk to me, Jake, because we're running out of time here. Willem Van Rassel, if he passes Melvin Tyne, which he's lining up right now, we got a tie for biggest mover.
We do, and he's looking for it. Big lunge to the inside. Has he got it stopped? He has, but he'll be slowed through the second part, and Tyne can't really capitalize. Here comes Kay Poulsen to go through. Big stuff for the top 10.
This is all for the biggest mover. These are up 15, up 15, up 12, up 14. Huge movers in this pack.
Oh, yes, and they know it, and they've got to try and race hard for it. How are they going to go through this chicane? No, they're going to stay single file for the moment. Little search from David Geddes. Suarez, not much he can do then in the final stages they go through. Race currently being led by Andy McEwen. They should have the white flag coming next time by, so they'll have 2 laps here to figure this out, and they're racing 46 seconds behind the race lead for Hard Charger.
But this is the Hard Charger. These cars up so many positions. I got my eye on the leader. Andy McEwen's coming out of the back straight chicane, just kind of following a lapped car. No pressure for him.
Oh, none at all. Absolutely none at all. He's got a 2.6 second gap over Jordan Svetinov. 30 seconds on the clock as he will take a lap then over the machine of Pedro Marimon, and he will fly on through by him as the white flag lap starts. Marimon grabs the wall as he goes through. Andy McEwen in control of this race as it stands. There is a lot of smoke down over at turn 8, but it continues on here with Poulsen looking to attack time for place. It is currently a tie. It would break the tie if Kay can find a move over on Melvin, and it's an all-Dutch affair, 8th through 10th on this battle.
Well, I tell you what, Kate Poulsen slow coming out of the chicane. That's going to give an opportunity to David Geddes, and if David passes Kay, then we've got a 3-way tie for biggest mover.
And David would absolutely love that. The Canadian trying to find a way through for GTD Racing. Not there yet, has another lap yet to make it happen, and he's going to have to find some patience to make that move. In fact, there's troubles there for Melvin Tyne as he gets the white flag lap. Here comes Kay Poulsen looking to try and go up another. That's not going to happen. Geddes into the back, and he's in trouble.
Oh, he loses a place. Luis Suarez takes his spot in line there, but that battle still rages on as Andy McEwen comes out of the back straightaway chicane.
He does, and the year 1 racing driver has been a little bit unfortunate over the course of this season. He's been in Division 1 every single stage of the way, but has found troubles. But now he can finally say, with Division 2, his first start, he will hit the brakes, he will take the final chicane, and he will take victory, and he will have the biggest smile on his face as he does so. McEwen wins here in Concord, North Carolina.
Bektinov will cross the line second. Miles Owen completing your podium. And Jake, I think my biggest mover on this final lap here, Luis Suarez, and he's still not done on the back straightaway.
Yeah, he is still not done at all. Here comes the chances then as they start to move. This is where he has got to, absolutely got to make this happen. Brilliant stuff as they dive on through. You've got Kellyman, Josue Lopez, who's had to pit, is going to try and open it up. And in front of that as well, Melvin Tyne still holding off Suarez, making all the difference as well on this lap. Is Suarez going to be a heartbreaker through this final chicane? Is Josue Lopez and Charles Kellyman going to have themselves a bit of a ding-dong over the line? Brilliant stuff, almost a turn over the line. Josue Lopez will hold as well. Brilliant stuff everywhere you looked.
I am so impressed with the racing. That was so many cars going into the final chicane, keeping it clean for those final positions, but ultimately it was this, the number 88, Andy McEwen leading the charge.
Leading the charge for Team Year 1. He'll have every right to be happy with the result that he's got today. We're going to step aside for one moment. When we come back, fallout from Division 2 and the all-important one, Division 1, will be next.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
A race at the front, which was all about getting there early, and the top four were able to break away, but the gap started to increase, but that wouldn't matter for car number 88. Andy McEwen will take some big points away from him tonight as he picks up the win, 26 minutes, 14 seconds, and wins by 2.6 in the end over Jordan Svetinov. Miles Owens will round out the podium with 5 Dutch drivers in the top 10, starting off with Stefan Olderding there in 4th. He would lead home Laurent Sebastian, who was very much held up in the early stages, why he couldn't contend at the front. Alexandre Longo will finish off in 6th with Edouard Gross, Willem van Rassel and Melvin Tyne 7th, 8th and 9th, and it will be a tie for them for the hard charger, with Van Rassel and Tyne both gaining 15 places respectively. Luis Suarez will round out the top 10, the Portuguese driver driving well.
Kay Poulsen comes home 11th. David Geddes in 12th. Joshua Lopez here in 13th. All of those locked in that battle that we were covering there in the final few laps. Also, Charles Kellyman and Patrick Cantrell making a race of it there on the final lap. Martin Sampson, our last car on the lead lap. Pedro Merriman, 1 lap down. Sander Vara, Carl Jacquelet, Rene Zegler in 20th.
Yeah, and over the page, we're hitting drivers a lap down or retired. Ronald Moans, one of them. Then you got Nicholas Norwood, Sebastian Hain in trouble here today, a lap down. Eric Couradon, Tom Daly, he got caught out on lap 1 of this race. 3 laps down he goes. Stephen Orrell, Javier Sequendez, both in trouble here today. So they find themselves through. I am in the process here, ladies and gentlemen, of trying to grab Andy McEwen in for an interview. It is a bit of a process at this moment in time to make that happen. So at least at this point in time, we are in a position to say that we've had some amazing racing. Division 1 is going to be jumping up next here, Joey. And you talk about what Division 1 is all about. It has been fraught with amazingly close racing.
This is the cream of the crop when it comes to those MX5s, and we saw the first race get a little bit spread out. The second race start to really tidy it up, and all of those battles throughout the field, well, just going to get better and better here in Division 1. This is what we've been waiting for.
Oh, it absolutely has been. Andy McEwen then joins us now from Year 1 Racing. Andy, that for a race for you must be a real confidence booster in this championship. You come into today at number 88, you take a Division 2 win. How crucial has it been for you just to get a strong result like this today in the bag after what has been troubles in Division 1?
Oh, Jay, you don't know the half of it, honestly. It's been, it's a long time since I won a race on iRacing full stop, to be honest. I don't really get to dedicate a huge amount of time to it during the summer months. So I did literally no practice for this race and no practice for qualifying either the other day. So I didn't come into it with particularly high hopes. But yeah, been a challenging season so far, and it's nice to get a win whichever way it comes.
Well, it's been a nice win for you very, very quickly because we really do have to rush. For you, how crucial has this been to get a victory for the commentators?
Yeah, well, you see, it proves that we can put our money where our mouths are. So, that's something, isn't it? I wouldn't claim to be the greatest driver in the world or the greatest commentator for that matter. But, yeah, it gives me a bit more street cred, maybe.
More street cred in the back pocket. Andy McEwen joining us, a race victory overall. And there is a reason why we have to hurry here, Joey, because we have right in front of us the calendars for 2024. And there are 2 championships that it's going to be. There's the World Sim Series on the left-hand side, which will be where the top 40 of that championship reach the world final to Laguna Seca. And then the Club Cup for 2,000 iRacing and lower, top 10 in the championship, get positions 41 through 50 for the world final.
Well, it doesn't matter which schedule you look at the names of the tracks. And I mean, you hit some of the best tracks here in iRacing. And you also hit some of the oldest tracks, kind of relive some of the memories that we've been so, awesome to see on the screen here. I think either one, you're in for a good time.
I think you absolutely are as well. You can go through the likes, of course, of what is there. What a finish, actually, to the left-hand side. Phillip Island, Spa-Francorchamps, and Interlagos. Interlagos in November is going to be an absolute treat. And then, of course, the provisional calendar, which is very similar to the calendar we have now, that finishes off at Tsukuba to decide who will go to the WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, where the championship finale will be held last year, as is this year at this moment in time. This is big, and we'll be jumping into Division 1's quali, or the end of quali, and over towards starting grid with how that is stacking up in the next couple of moments. But Joey, it's all important to talk about who's up at the top. Those three that we talked about, of course, being Ade Koba, Fernando Antley, and Jason Cooper. Those have been the top three, have been going well. But this is where you talk about seeding day results. Top 20, of course, get points, 20 down to 1. Jason Cooper took the maximum points from that, 20 points by being the fastest in qualifying for seeding.
On those three names that you mentioned, they are all inside the top 5 as the qualifying session wraps up here, and we will get our official grid. So they are at the pointy end of the field, Jake.
They are, and of course, this is a chance to say that this will be the Simify starting grid out there, and it is Pablo Espes who will be on the pole position for that, with Jason Cooper alongside on the front row. Jaume Dalmases will go from 3rd, and Ade Koba, championship leader, lines up in 4th position. Fernando Antley will go 5th, and then it is the Pulpo Lopez, GoPro he used to be. Pablo Lopez starts from 6th, with Morgan Burkhart in 7th and Jameson Sampaio, father of Enzo, in 8th. Michele Peñan 9th and Enzo Sampaio rounding out then the top 10.
Oscar Pujadas here in 11th, Yongxi Lin in 12th, Vladislav Shapov in 13th, Lars Fischer 14th. Here in row 8, we have David Chapman and Adam Delmont. Roni Mantanyaimi in 17th, Chris Knox next to him in 18th, and then in row 10, Adam McNally and Joel Singleton.
Over then to 21st position, it is Kalle Kavisto, 13th in the championship, and he'll have his main rival beside him, Trevor Roy, who is 14th overall. Eugenio Pulici will start from 23rd, and Sam Chapman's first start of the season will be in top division, as he has row 13 behind him, David Morales and Tero Tillis. Pieter Gossens will go from 27th position, his first start of the season, with Roberto Bruno Filio in 28th place. Ewan Bremer and Ari Haro will make 30. The last driver who didn't set a time then was Nuno Ferreira. Track temperatures, same again, but this is the point where we say that this is your Simify starting grid that's just gone through, and technically a Simify outlap. It's the new title sponsor for the MX5 World Sim Series, and Simify is an online web shop housing a vast array of sim racing essentials for the next step in your virtual career. From steering wheels, seats, and handbrakes to even the common sim racing glove, Simify ships worldwide and is available to be seen both in English and Espanol. Use discount code MX5WSS at checkout to receive a discount on your sim racing purchase by visiting www.simify.com today. Joey, it's all about the Spaniards. There are 5 in the top 6.
Well, yeah, things are going to get a little spicy up front, but I'm really looking forward to this one. We kind of saw 2 races so far, both extremely good racing, but this is the tippy top. Like I mentioned, the cream of the crop. These guys race inches off of each other's bumpers, and I would say a trend that I saw in the first 2 races is things can get bottled up. You know, if a move is made and not completed, there kind of is a cork in the bottle. I'm curious to see if that's going to be the same thing here in Division 1, and if we're going to get 3, 4 wide when those opportunities happen.
Yeah, and this is where you just have to have patience in this field. There are a number of accomplished drivers. Ade Koba, number 60 in the world according to iRacing out there. He is a top 100 talent out there in terms of what he does. Marcelo Pagnan, or just on the inside of the top 100 too. Yuan Jilin, number 1 in the world from China in terms of iRacing, making his first start of the season. And you look at some of the names that are in the top 10 who could not buy themselves even a top 15 in qualifying. That is big in terms of talent for this field.
And it's going to stay that way throughout this entire race. Like I mentioned, inches off of each other's bumpers, sometimes even pushing each other. I know that they tried to make me tape ketchup and mustard packets to my bumper at one time.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Try to prevent me from pushing.
Yeah, well, they know what they want, and they know that they want a good result. 25 minutes to decide Division 1. Welcome to Charlotte Motor Speedway on the greatest weekend of motorsport. Green flag in the air. Pablo Espes will lead us off, and the challenge will start immediately as they go through, defending all the way through the 30 drivers who are looking to make a really good start of things here today. And now they know, as they go through the opening corners, that it's all about breakaway quickly. Pablo Espes has been so good this season, has not been able to find a victory. Obsidian versus 5-star again. Jason Cooper, the main challenger to the throne, as now Jaime Dalmases tries to challenge in through 5.
And Pablo Espes doing everything right off of the start. Got a great jump, and now he's got about a 5-car length lead over Jason Cooper, who's being hounded by the number 26 right behind him as we go up onto the banking for the first time.
And now they will push. Advanced setup, slightly different from the baseline that we saw Division 3, Division 2. The bonus points ratcheting up as well here. 5 points for the fastest lap. It is going to be 5 points for Pablo Espes for pole position. A race win is an extra 10 points in the back pocket, and Hard Charger still worth the 2 championship points that's there. A little bit of side-by-side almost as Enzo Sampaio finds himself through on his father Jameson back in the field, and down to the bottom goes Marcelo Pagnan, looking to try and make a pass then in the SRC Movano Corsica. He just catch the back end of it now as the group starts to form, and Morgan Burkhart the back of the train.
Just one big long snake from first all the way down throughout the entire field as we complete lap number 1 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And really impressed. Look at how close second and third place are running.
Oh, they are running, and they are really trying to work. 0.8 of a second the gap for Pablo Espes at the front of the field. Dalmases might try and work here with Jason Cooper to move up forward. Behind that, you've got Ade Koba and Pablo Lopez, the two, of course, with history back to the Battery 10 Global MX5 Championship. Remember, it was Ade Koba who won that race. It was Pablo Lopez who got the ticket to go and race in the series.
On right behind those two, you also have Fernando Antoli and Morgan Burkhead, or Burkhard, also joining this party right here. So Morgan kind of the caboose on this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-car train.
And let's not forget VIR, Joey, where Morgan Burkhart was a corner from victory, and he found himself in trouble. Moved complete by Jaime Dalmases. He's up into second.
Dalmases up into second, and I'm curious to see, does Dalmases go try to chase down the gap, because it stays at about 0.8 with Espes out front.
Jaime Dalmases, right at the beginning of the season, took pole at Okayama, went off the road at turn 1. It's taken him 5 rounds to get back to this point where he can challenge for the victory. Number 26, he's maybe a little bit further down in the championship points, Joey, than maybe what his ability tells him he can do.
You know, it happens. You know, you don't always have perfect days on the racetrack, and I preach consistency, and that's what you try to do. It always doesn't work out the way that you want it to sometimes.
No, it doesn't always, and every race is a different story, and that's why it's a championship overall. They charge out to turn 4, heading to 5, back up the hill here in the middle of the oval, and on the brakes, trying to get as much turn as possible here. This is a fantastic star-studded group out there at this point, trying to maximize everything, but the faster that they challenge and the less they battle, the more they will reel in Pablo Espes. That gap is now down around 0.6 of a second at this point, and Enzo Sampaio, winner last time out, has clawed onto the back of this group. He's done a really good job of getting there. Morgan Burkhart starts to think about pushing Fernando Antley, number 2 in the championship.
You're right. You see Sampaio, kind of that bluish purple car, just barely hanging on here to the back of this train, that number 29 there, doing a great job as you get kind of the second half of the field. Ooh, a little bit of problem through the chicane. I believe that was Kale Kavisto.
Yeah, Calais finding a bit of trouble, number 13. So he had to be very cautious about the way he went. He was far too deep through. Ade Koba, 4th in line, is now going to have to start thinking here. And this isn't the case what we've seen earlier on this season, where the Obsidian cars have had complete control. Dalmas's with the fastest lap check mark, 1:30.5 as he crosses the line. You've got to be really, really precise here in terms of how you bring everything together and how you work to get everybody in the train.
And you made the comment of Dalmas's, he's hunting down Espez out front just a little bit ago, and then you saw that purple lap, and I wouldn't say that Pablo Espez has actually fallen off at all. He actually just set his fastest lap. I'm impressed with the speed out of the 26. He's the one that's going up there and catching our leader and actually kind of leaving Jason Cooper just a little bit.
I think he's dragging everyone along. We go on board then with this second group. There is the year 1 car of David Chapman, 31st in the championship. He's got in front of him, and I mean far in front, the likes of Jameson Sampaio. Number 41, he is going to jump inside the top 40 no matter what happens here coming out of tonight.
Points, points, points. That's all that matters all the time. And look at this hungry pack down into the back straightaway chicane. That is led by Lars Fischer kind of at the front of that train in the blue and orange car.
Yeah, the 5-star motorsport car, that's the group of 3 in front we're looking at. To the apron, tries the pass for Vladislav Shopov, 6th overall in the championship. This to move inside the top 10. If he can find his pass on the outside, big squeeze as he goes through, and he has to get well out of it, and he'll bring the group back together.
Just like that. I was mentioning these little accordion effects. They have huge moments out on the racetrack, and eventually one of them's going to go 3 wide. I know
one of them is, and that could be scary. On board from the rear of Pablo Espez, it is Pablo Lopez who has the fastest lap check mark now for PGZ, and he behind looks for a move on Ade Koba, and he sends him bang into the wall. Goes the championship leader.
Oh, heartbreak for Ade Koba. You see him sitting on the side of the racetrack right now, maybe a little bit of dazed and confused.
Dazed and confused, and it is Pablo again for Ade, and he will feel like it is a story that keeps on repeating in his sim racing career. Small tap as they go through 5, and it's just drivers being really aggressive. It's the first real sign we've seen all race.
Well, and you see Ade move right here. He knows he's in trouble. Here comes the second move, and it's tough. He knows he's down there, yet he still closes the door.
Yeah, and this is the thing. If you leave the door open, though, for Pablo through turn 5, he takes you at turn 6. But the key there is that Pablo's trying to keep that at a very small gap, and it's just the smallest bit of overlap. That's what causes it.
Absolutely, and just the narrowest margins are what can cause tears out here. And I would just say that, he knew that he had a bad run. He covered it off, and just unfortunate it ended the way that it did.
Morgan Burkhart, fastest lap there for Delta Sport. He'll get the check mark now. Jaime Dalmasas has brought the gap down to 0.2 of a second. The Zenith Esports driver looking for a move on Obsidian Racing. And you also look behind as well to Jason Cooper, the 3rd in the train. Pablo Lopez, a bit of a gap back now with him, Anthony Burkhart and Sampaio now the next in the group. And we go on board with Morgan Burkhart here because he has a fantastic eyes view of the group in front, and they will work hard. That gap about 0.7 of a second Pablo Lopez has to chase down.
Well, and you mentioned VIR earlier with Morgan, and he was in the right place at the right time and kind of lining up a little bit of deja vu. And here we got Dalmasas officially has caught Arlido Pablo Espez coming down into that back straightaway chicane.
Yeah, trying to get drive, and This is the key here. I wonder how long Jaume Dalmases is going to wait in second position, knowing he's got the prime place on the circuit as he goes. Burkhardt loses out, though. Enzo Sampaio jumps up to sixth position, does the young Brazilian starlet, as he now finds his move. Now is there a look from Dalmases here into the final chicane? No, he'll play the patience game. Why wouldn't you? He's got 15 minutes, 16 minutes even, to try and make this pass. He's got time.
Well, and he went up there and he caught our leader, so he's got confidence right now. He knows he's got a fast race car underneath him. He knows he's got speed. He's noticed where he's been catching our leader, so now it's just a matter of time where do you apply everything and make that pass.
Application is everything in terms of making a pass. If you try it in the wrong place, you are going to be pretty much stuck out there on track. Nose to tail through 5 and up into 6. Once again, number 5, Pablo Espes, has been desperately unlucky. He's shown the pace to win all season long, has Pablo Espes. It's never quite materialized for him.
Well, and Dalmases able to really kind of tuck the nose down coming out onto the straightaway. Pablo Espes, though, doing a fantastic job.
Yuan Jilin around at turn 6, and that's pretty big for him. He had to wait a very long time in the 5-star motorsport machine to get himself pointed in the right direction, and a huge signing for 5-star in terms of what he needed. But there was the move. He was trying to get through against Adam McNally in what was the next-gen racing car, and he just drops it.
Yeah, and I wonder if maybe it happened on a downshift, Jake. You're going down a couple gears there, and here we have another half spin here in turn 2 of David Morales. I wonder if his rear's locking up on him.
Either that, or it's the compression damping that we've seen be such a problem throughout many vehicles. Just getting it up on 2 wheels over that inside curb at turn 5 really didn't settle the car through the corner.
Very well could be a possibility as well, but either way, the rear end was not settled and around it went as we jump back up. Pablo Espes, we mentioned Dalmases has got him. Oh yeah, here comes Pablo Lopez, deja vu. Oh, more hip checking.
Oh, he's going to push 3 wide through the middle. Anthony in the inside wall and Cooper on the outside trying to defend it through 7. He does. And Enzo Sampaio gains place. He grabs the wall and he's turned himself around.
Sampaio was looking to be in a good spot. Unfortunately, just took too much speed. And oh no, Pablo Lopez, more contact with Jason Cooper on the apron. These two are not done yet.
No, not at all. And the Pulpo Lopez going to push, and he's not going to try and get that move done just yet. They have to stay in range. Jaume and Pablo Espes. If those two get away, it's game over. Behind that 5th and 6th, Fernando Antley and Morgan Burkhardt start scrapping, but their race definitely over. They're 1.8 back. They need a lot of help to get back up front.
They need these top 4 to start racing each other. That's what Morgan Burkhardt needs in order to catch, because Fernando Antoli is not done either. He's trying to make a move, get by Morgan for that 5th place position.
And meanwhile, Jameson Sampaio is having to deal with a lot of troubles there. That's Oscar Pajadas, who's made some great progress. He's jumped up into 7th now, Shopov there in 9th, and they bring with them Marcelo Pignan and Lars Fischer and David Chapman, not necessarily in that order, but those 3 are very, very capable in terms of how they could charge under the Bank of America bridge.
6 cars here, all in that same single frame on the racetrack. Doesn't matter if you're battling for the lead or here in 10th place position. The battles are great.
Oh, they are. I've just seen a car in trouble going through turn 1, and that's Sam Chapman making his first start.
Not the first time we've seen problems. And Jake, I've actually seen, with the way this racetrack kind of crisscrosses or kind of folds in on itself a few times, you notice a lot of action that you're not actually covering.
No, you really do, and it really does open up the door everywhere you look in terms of you get a lot of bang for your buck depending on where you're sitting. And I think Dalmases here is trying to play the long game here. He's trying to leave out Pablo Espes on the front, make him do all the donkey work to break away, but now he starts to make that move to the outside, and he only just puts his mirror there to say, you know, I could make this move, but no, I'm going to stay in line. I'm going to make you sweat.
Yeah, well, I'm curious too, because look at this. Already, Jason Cooper and Pablo Lopez, they've been setting fast laps. They are our current fastest cars on the racetrack. Now we got 4 cars battling for that lead again.
Oh, we do have 4 cars battling, and this has been everything that you want. And not only is it 4 cars battling, it's 4 teams battling at the front. You have, of course, the likes of Obsidian, the likes of Zenith, but now you have 5-Star and PGZ into the mix. PGZ are pretty much that team when it comes to esports out there, especially in sim racing. They are the dream team.
Well, and I'm happy I got you here in the booth, Jake, because you're so knowledgeable on all of these racers and these sim teams that I just don't have that knowledge. All I can do is read the racetrack. And one thing that I have been watching here, that number 18 car, he's got his elbows out a few times tonight. I think he's our most aggressive driver on the racetrack, and I don't think he's done yet.
And I don't think it's done either for the battle on for 7th place, stuck behind Oscar Pajadas out there at this moment, with Jameson Sampaio, with Shopov, with Panyan, all there. Here comes Vladislav Shopov to the outside. Can't get there on Jameson Sampaio. The pushing going on as well from the Year 1 car. David Chapman in there with Marcello, trying to get into play. Lars Fischer on the back of this group, trying to be patient. Top 4 find themselves on their own island, and they're going to have to work it out between them, because there are 3 spots on that podium, and someone is going to walk away not being able to hold the bouquet of flowers thrown by the bride.
Now, Jake, talk to me about not wanting to lead this race, because for 2 laps in a row now, our 2nd place runner, Delmasis, has had a fantastic run coming out of NASCAR Turn 4. He could have easily used the draft to outbrake Pablo Espez. Do you think maybe he's just not confident in his speed to run away and break that draft? Or what do you think the strategy is there?
There's no chance that they're going to break the draft. That much we can certainly say out there at the front of this field. What they're trying to do is put themselves in a position for the final lap of this race. And that's the key here. Who wants to be where? I don't think Jaume Dalmases wants anything of the lead of this race, because he knows his advantage is coming off of NASCAR 4, making that overtake. And again, even here at NASCAR 2, he's now looking to try and make this move. And I wonder if Pablo Espez tries to break early, and almost the door opening up there for Jason Cooper.
And Jason Cooper sticking his nose down the inside. Now he's going to work to drivers right along the high side of NASCAR 3
Pablo's
and 4 now.
him.
Yep, Pablo is lined up to give him a bump draft. This might be the opportunity for Jason Cooper. Now Pablo goes to the inside. He's going to try to take it potentially 3 wide into the chicane.
Oh, he's stuck on that outside, and Jason Cooper just about holds that position. He was helping Jason along that banking when he thought that Jason couldn't get alongside quick enough. He was like, no, I've got to push Jaume Dalmases. Side by side behind, Vladi Shopov is now going to find himself now looking at where he needs to be, because it gets a little bit dicey between himself and Jameson Sampaio. Behind is still in control at the front of that group, but they're starting to trade. CFPM Sampaio, Jameson is searching around, and he's thinking, well, how much of a buffer can I get over position number 40?
Look at how close Shopov is to Oscar right in front of him. And this is kind of amusing to me, because we watch our lead cars go through a sector, and then you kind of turn your head, and here comes the next group of cars.
Background, Lars Fischer. Straight around there at turn 5 and 6. He missed the apex.
We've seen a lot of cars and a lot of action here on that corner, and unfortunately Lars Fischer just too much speed, which is actually quite common there. Can't really get the car slowed down once you enter it, and if you hit the brakes, you're going to spin around anyways.
Yep, you certainly are, and that is troublesome out there. 5th and 6th continue on their race. Fernando Antley and Morgan Burkhart. Jameson moving to the inside of Vladi Shopov. Shopov covers it off, though, on the inside. Marcello Pagnan, SRC Movano Corsa, one of the great Italian teams out there. David Chapman for Year 1 sitting just behind, and there is the leading duo on the board with the rear view mirror. It is Pablo Espez from the bumper, now trying to find himself through. 6 minutes 40. They are going to have to figure this out over 5 laps.
Yeah, the time is starting to dwindle out, and you mentioned it just a couple laps ago. 4 cars battling, but only 3 cars get to spray some champagne at the end of this. Who's going to stand on top? Who's going to be left out?
Well, we know that Pablo Lopez likes to get his elbows out. We've seen it at turn 5 a number of times over the course of this race. But now you start sensing the top two who have been patient. Pablo Espes, by the way, has led every single meter of this race so far.
Done a terrific job and hasn't really made any mistakes. Now, I've made the comment that Dalmasas has had the opportunity to pass our leader a few times. And he's opting not to. Like you called it, he's just waiting to be in second place for the opportune moment. And Jake, I want to play a little devil's advocate here because, here we go. Yeah, leg break around the outside.
Oh, this is big, trying to get this move. And now the run comes for Jason Cooper. Does he push or do they fall in line? They fall in line, and look at this. Pablo Espes is going to push him up the circuit like it's the velodrome, trying to get this sorted. But now Jaume Dalmasas makes the move. He's trying to side draft him every stage of the way into the final chicane. Jaume Dalmasas takes the lead for the first time. Here comes Espes out the chicane.
And Espes does the over-under, and Jason Cooper's now going to show his nose into turn 1. But, Jake, this is exactly what I was going to mention. I like going up there and showing your hand. Contact, and now Cooper in the wall.
Cooper grabs the wall. Pablo was pushing for the inside, and he finds third place now with his elbows out. And Jason Cooper just left the slither open. You can't give Pablo Lopez a slither.
No, you can't give even just a crack of the door open to that number 18 car. And I tell you what, the 18 car has a few different paint scuffs on the front end of that car today.
Has worn every paint in this field from around about 6th place onwards. That much we know. But it is still the 3 Spaniards at the front. Pablo Espes, Pablo Lopez, and in the middle, Jaume Dalmasas, who has been the patient one in this field. Does he again look to push to that outside? No, not this time. He's going to have to stay patient, but he knows that there is a mistake that's just there, and Pablo Lopez snipes the position away.
Well, no contact on that one. A nice clean pass. Now we got Pablo versus Pablo out front. And back to my point, Jake, because we have a minute to breathe now. I like seeing the racing because if you don't make the moves, you don't know what's possible on the other side of it. You have to try everything out at least once.
Oh, you do. And Pablo Espes is pushing like a driver possessed when he knows that he's got Pablo Lopez there just behind. Those two, by the way, Lopez and Espes, both had shocking Oran Parks, and this could be their redemption story. The top 3 have not had a win all season. Pajadas dropping backwards now. There goes Marcelo Peñan through. Jameson Sampaio's also managed to find his way through the Spaniard.
Yeah, dropping back just a little bit. You said Peñan by, and yeah, Chapman also right there locked into that battle. The 31, see that last car on the train, and here we go back up front. This is Dalmasas now in the 3rd place position, and something else to notice, Jason Cooper has not fallen off of this train. He's only about 9/10 behind, and I have a feeling if Jason Cooper gets back to the bumper of Lopez, what will happen?
What will? That is the question. Defense then from Lopez. He does not want Dalmasas anywhere near him as they go through the chicane, the first chicane out there. They will have 2 laps to figure this out. Jason Cooper not out of this. He's at 9/10 of a second. He is just clinging on. Something could happen that brings him back in the 5-star motorsport car.
Well, just even attempted passes right here, like going too wide between our leaders, Espes and Lopez. Pablo defending on Pablo. They zipper it through, but that just brings Jason Cooper that much closer one more time.
0.6 of a second now, the gap, and with 2 laps to go, Pablo Espes and Pablo Lopez are starting to throw those haymakers around every single corner. They've got to be choice in terms of what they want. It's a heavyweight fight. Up at the top, it's like Fury and Joshua at this moment in time. Who can throw the biggest punch to move themselves further forward? It is Espes, it is Lopez, it is Dalmasas on the brakes in 3rd as they head through 6.
Who can get the run out onto this banked oval section? Dalmasas almost into the back of Pablo Lopez there. That's going to cost him a ton of momentum. Jason Cooper will capitalize.
on the inside as well. He's going to force his way through down there. Jason Cooper will move up into third position. It is third for the moment, but it's not clear in terms of the race for third position. Back will try and come one Mr. Jaume Dalmasas. They'll fight each other on the brakes in through the corner, and they'll push on each other. Jaume Dalmasas with the strongest will hold on. A lap and a bit to go. It's Pablo versus Pablo up at the front.
I think that move from Dalmasas pretty much it closed the door on potentially winning the race. You are right. Pablo versus Pablo. Espes right now up front. Lopez looking to make a move late on the brakes going into the chicane.
He's overcooked it though, because Espes is going to come straight back at the inside. White flag in the air. Clear by 13 thousandths at the line was Pablo Espes. Can the Pulpo Lopez find the move that gets the race done? Through turn 2, he will come along, and now he needs the setup under the Bank of America Bridge through turns 3 and 4. This is big in terms of what these two make. This has been his corner all night, number 18. Turn 5, he has found the move so often. He won't get a chance this time to make that happen, and they know they can't rest on their laurels, because Jaume Dalmasas is only 0.6 of a second back through turn 6, and now they drive through turn 7 past the line of cones and onto the banking here at turn number 8, with Pablo Espes then leading this race as he has done all race long, bar that last chicane 1 lap ago where Pablo Lopez made the move. Does he find the pass now? The Pulpo moving to the outside to try and find this pass. He has to stay alongside. He can then dictate pace as he goes through. He's earlier on the brakes though, as Espes holds the line fantastically, but it's about exit drive, which the PGZ driver has compared to the Obsidian Pablo, who finds himself on the inside. Now it's about what Espes can do to hold this line. Has he got enough to throw it? Dalmasas closing as well in third. He might have a shot of it if these two come together. It all comes down to here. It's Pablo Lopez on the brakes. Can he shut the door on the exit? Oh, it's an attempt, but it is the Pulpo who wins it here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Pablo Lopez was able to defend the over-under. Pablo Espes threw everything that he could there to try to finish it as we watch some more cars cross the finish line. That was the 31 of David Chapman sliding it to a 9th place finish. And a little bit further back here, this is the battle, I believe. This is Adam McNally and 15th or so.
We'll need to see a replay of Marcelo Peñan on the last lap. He had troubles coming onto the banking. He's dropped a number of places down to 15th place as he crossed the line. McNally and co coming over the line there. But what a race. What a race. So this is what happened to Peñan here with Jameson Sampaio and co. He comes through the corner and they all just come together, and Pajadas turns the Movano Corsa driver.
It's a tough break there on the final lap at the end of the race, and this was the move, Jake. It was all set up through the final chicane coming out of it.
Yeah, and Pablo Lopez, who had not been afraid to throw his arms out all night, knew that he had to find some patience when he needed it the most. He tested the waters a lap earlier, had Espes come back at him, and for Pablo Espes, the one mistake he made was just clipping that final curve. You can see Lopez moving to the outside. It gives him the inside for the final chicane, fighting against the bank as he comes through. Off of he goes at 4. He's got a nose to the inside, and on the brakes he goes. Watch Espes here through the second section. Just too much curb, and that tempers the run.
Fantastic racing from our front two, and ultimately it was Pablo Lopez with that scuffed up front bumper taking the win.
We're going to step aside for one moment here on the Global SimRacing Channel. When we come back, it is post-race fallout here from Charlotte Motor Speedway. It was a Spanish dominance here today, but it was everything you wanted and then some. You're watching the Simify MX5 World Sim Series.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Throw a blanket over them over the line. It was an absolute classic here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. At the home of NASCAR, it is elbows out that gets it done. Pablo Lopez, the Pulpo, gets it done in 25 minutes and 51 seconds. He wins by .085 over the line over the other Pablo, Espes, still desperately unlucky to find the results that he so very desperately needs in second. It's Jaime Dalmases who rounds out the podium with Jason Cooper in fourth and Morgan Burkhart rounding out the top 5 overall for Delta Sport. Fernando Antoli found the wall early. That dropped him back with Burkhart in their race. That's why he's in 6th place, with Oscar Pajadas getting himself in 7th, but not without his troubles turning around Marcelo Peñan on the final lap of the race. Jameson Sampaio, big boon for him in points. He finishes 8th with Chris Knox in 9th and Ronnie Mantiniemi making sure that he finds a top 10 finish, Joey.
Here we have Vladislav Shapov in 11th place, Adam McNally in 12th, Joel Singleton 13th, Marcelo Peñan here in 14th place, Roberto Bruno Filo finishing 15th, and I believe that is actually our biggest mover. Roberto up 13 positions starting way back in 28th. Taro Tilis in 16th, Yangzi Lin that we saw with that spin finishes 17th, Peter Gossens in 18th, Cali Cavisto 19th, and Ari Haro in 20th.
Yeah, and Ari Haro gained 10 places in that race. Roberto Bruno Filo gets the Hard Charger award. He gained 13 places over the course of that race. Ewan Bramer would finish 21st ahead of Sam Chapman there, the Aussie, in 22nd. Trevor Roy will get there ahead of David Chapman. A big kick in the teeth for Ade Koba. There goes the championship lead, 25th after his contact with Pablo Lopez. Adam Delmont also not having a great race then. He gets 26th with David Morales a lap down, along with Eugenio Pulici, and then one retiree in Lars Fischer, and then another retiree in Enzo Sampaio, your winner last time out. No start, of course, for Nuno Ferreira in this race. But that makes it 5 different race winners here in the top in the first 5 races. And if that is the first half of the season done, which it is, Joey, bring on the next 5 races in the World Final in Laguna Seca. Every race, there is someone different who has an incredible shot of winning it all.
I love it. I think the competition has been great week in and week out. We've seen fantastic racing. Doesn't matter if it's Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, all of them put on a fantastic show. And I think it was only fitting here, Jake, that we are in the home of NASCAR, right in their kind of backyard. And you had to get your elbows out. You had to kind of beat and bang in order to get your way up to the front today.
Oh, you did. You really had to work for it. And I tell you what, that was as everything could get in terms of putting together result upon result upon result. But we have to talk about what happens next time we are racing with everyone, because this has been an incredible championship to keep your eyes on, and it only gets better because it's Lime Rock Park, the definitive circuit, you could say, out there, Joey, for what is getting your teeth stuck in sim racing.
Yes, if you start on iRacing, or I shouldn't even say start, if you are on iRacing, you know Lime Rock Park very well. It happens to be in iRacing's backyard, but also these cars are a perfect fit for LRP out there. It's also known as the Bull Ring, so if you think we saw some contact and elbows out here at Charlotte, I have a feeling that when we go to Lime Rock, hearts are going to be broken.
Hearts will be broken, tempers will flare, rivalries will rise, and other drivers out there will start to sense that this is much more than just your average online championship. There are 40 places at stake, and every single move will matter between now and the end of this season. Want to give a massive thanks, though, to the crew who has got it done for us today. From Joey, from Ryan, and of course from Dougie as well. You can catch all of our social media here right in front of you on screen, especially our Facebook, Twitter, our Twitch, our Discord, and our Instagram as well. You can also thank everyone who has got it done in terms of the action that we have had, in terms of everything that we've got that has brought things together. This is where we are. Next time we are racing with you, Lime Rock Park, June 25th, 4 Eastern, 9 BST, 8 GMT, and that is going to be huge. The second half of the season kicks off, and it kicks off in some beautiful fashion with what they've got. Make sure you go to our merch store as well, gsrc.storenb.com, if you want your best GSRC merch. In terms of what is coming up next, we got some amazing racing coming through. It will be RTA Formula Ford 1600s. It's the penultimate round of the championship, and it will be the Indy version of Brands Hatch to challenge that coming forward. You can catch more of the amazing stuff here on the Global Sim Racing channel, but with that from Pablo Lopez getting his first win of the season, his elbows out, making friends, making rivals, making an absolute scene here today at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Race clean, race hard. We'll see you at Lime Rock Park.